And a good Tuesday morning, Quad Cities. It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, 9 o'clock on the dot. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
And weather anchor Peter Warner.
Hey, happy April 1st.
Say happy April Fools.
I know, the big April Fool's Day. I know, none of this is any fooling at all. Because we do have some weather to talk about that's coming in later tonight and into tomorrow morning. This is going to be one of two severe storm discussions that we'll hold today. You'll get the both of us this morning right now, and then Chief Meteorologist James Zahara is planning on having one at 8 o'clock this evening. Yes. So we're going to get both crowds covered here today.
Yeah, the morning and the evening crew.
Yep.
Take care of both of you.
And tune into both. Why not? You know, there's bound to be some changes between the two.
Yes. It's
been a very dynamic system again, the one that we've been tracking. It's actually stronger than what we saw on Sunday, believe it or not. And thankfully, that one timed itself out just right. That kept the severe weather east. Could that be the same thing here for us tomorrow? Well, the afternoon could have that same scenario, but the morning looks like it's going to be a little rocky here.
Yeah, especially when you're waking up, getting out the door for that morning commute too. That's something we're really keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate the most about this storm system is it is going to be coming in during the peak of your morning commute between that 5 and 8 o'clock time frame. So that's why we're giving you this early heads up. Could be some significant weather as we get into tomorrow. So we're going to break this storm system down. We'll take you through all of the data that we know. We'll also touch on some of the uncertainties because, boy, do those exist tomorrow.
There's plenty of them still, even though we're just 24 hours away.
Yeah, that's how dynamic this system is. So the uncertainty lies with what could regenerate or what could form tomorrow afternoon. And there's still a little bit of uncertainty in the morning, too, but we have much higher confidence with what's going to happen in the morning versus the afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a little busy. So we'll dive in. If you have questions during this, we're going to go ahead and answer those for you once we get to that part of the program we have for you. If you don't remember the phone number from last time and all the other times that we've done this, 309-304-0888. If you have questions regarding the severe weather threat coming in for tomorrow, we'll go ahead and we'll answer those for you. So let's go ahead and let's get started. We'll start with what we are expecting, and then we'll dive into some of the background information to the forecast, look at some of the storm energy, some of the other numbers coming in, and then we'll get into the uncertain part. What we're not too certain is going to happen tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit interesting. It's all going to depend on the moisture, the timing, and how much we see in the morning.
Yeah.
And how much I can take away from afternoon's potential.
Yeah, morning activity is going to dictate highly what happens in the afternoon. It's one of those kind of setups. So let's start with the weather impact alert that we have in place. That, of course, remains for late tonight, but we're more specifically focused on tomorrow morning. During that morning commute. So right now I've got it from about 5 to noon. Could we possibly extend this into tomorrow afternoon? Yes, but it's not a guarantee. Again, we really need to see what happens with the storms tomorrow. Do they stick around all morning long? Does that line come in early and then clear out and we break into some sunshine? That's what's going to really depend upon what happens tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow morning. So again, we're going to put an asterisk on that clock for tomorrow. Could it be extended into the afternoon? Yes. We'll wait and see. What are we concerned with? We are concerned with damaging wind gusts. There's some hail potential, especially late tonight. There will be some hail potential. There's also a tornado threat here too, and we'll go through that in detail coming up. But the need is what you're doing right now. You're tuning into our severe storm discussion. You're getting the details. You're getting the timing and everything else you need to be prepared for tomorrow. So you guys have already aced your homework for today by being right here.
Yes.
And you'll get an extra credit if you join James tonight at 8. So how about that?
I love extra credit.
Yeah, plus those scratch and sniff stickers. We can hand some of those out.
Oh, that's true.
Remember those?
Get little gold stars here.
Yes. Everybody gets a gold star if you tune in tonight. Gold star. Exactly. So here's what we've got going on for tonight. Everything has been downgraded, which is okay. You know, we were at a 2 out of 5 earlier. Now it's just a 1 out of 5. This is for the hail threat primarily. Some of these scattered thunderstorms developing right after 8, 9 o'clock up until midnight and through the early morning hours tomorrow could have some hail with them. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s, so that's very supportive of that. This is what happens as we go into tomorrow morning and into the afternoon, where we get this big jump up, where a lot of folks are in this 3 out of 5. Quad Cities and points to the east, and then if you're west of that, you're in this 2 out of 5. Peter, over in Des Moines, you're even in a kind of a 1 out of 5 to start with this.
Yeah, 1 out of 5. And for the western or central portions of Iowa, we're focusing more on that overnight development as that line makes its way through. So it's actually going to be around 12 o'clock in Omaha, making its way here towards the Quad Cities by around 4 or 5. So hail's the larger threat out of anything out in central Iowa if you're heading that way late tonight into tomorrow morning. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting storm system because we're going to be getting storm energy at a time when we typically wouldn't be expecting storm energy to come in here, and that's in the morning. So here's breaking down those individual threats. We'll start with the wind first. Notice we're back in that polka dot, or what we call that hatched region, which means 70+ mile per hour wind gusts are likely. That actually does include all of our hometowns. It's not limited to just the 3 out of 5 risk. The difference is we're expecting more widespread coverage of those 70+ mile an hour winds when you get to the Quad Cities east versus kind of more scattered when you're west of the Quad Cities. So that's a lot of wind we're talking about with those storms tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very similar to that one Friday night event we saw, where we saw some power outages, some poles were knocked down. That's kind of the type of damage you can potentially be seeing here with these 70 mile per hour gusts.
Exactly, and I want to emphasize scattered.
Yeah,
because a lot of folks, you know, they look at this and they think, oh, this is a derecho, or everybody's going to get 70, 80 mile an hour winds. That is not going to be the case with this storm. It's going to be here and there. A few hometowns within this zone are going to experience that. Because I think that was a big misconception with that last storm system. We had so many people saying, well, what happened? We didn't have this widespread wind damage. And I said, I know, that's what we're not forecasting widespread wind damage. We said scattered.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to emphasize here is this is scattered. Not everyone is going to see 70+ mile per hour winds. But just like that last one, we had a, 81 mile an hour wind gust south of the Quad Cities, and we had a few 70+ scattered about the region. So that's what we're expecting here, just to set the expectation as of right now. Let's talk about the tornado risk, because this is interesting. You see that polka dot area well south of us for tomorrow. That's where the stronger tornadoes are going to be, the EF2 or greater in intensity. So we don't have to worry about that here. But we do have a couple of tornadoes that will be possible, again, on a scattered basis, all throughout the Quad Cities region. You see, this is a 2 out of 5 on the threat track scale. But thankfully, that stronger, more widespread tornado threat is much, much further to the south of us. In fact, it's a huge area from the Ohio Valley to Tennessee.
I was going to say, it's going all the way down into Dixie, into St. Louis again, who St. Louis has been seeing some significant storm systems lately.
Oh my goodness, yes. Just kind of a continuation of that same southerly storm track from winter. But now we're dealing with the severe weather. So to summarize this for you here, and then we'll get into the hourly summary, our threat tracker, this is for tomorrow morning. And if something were to form tomorrow afternoon, you can pretty much put the same criteria on here as well. So we're talking a couple of weak tornadoes, wind gusts potentially up to, if not briefly exceeding 70 miles an hour, and then quarter-sized hail. So if we break this down on an hourly scale, if you're wondering when is this threat going to ramp up, between midnight and 4 a.m., I think that 1 out of 5 threat is there, and then we'll ramp up to a 2 at 4, and then the main line will sweep, and you can see that where the 3 is, between roughly 5 and 8.
Yes.
That's where we escalate that. Now you notice here on the left, or excuse me, the right, I've circled this here for a little bit of an uptick. This is because we have very low confidence that new storms can form in the afternoon. That's where it gets tricky and kind of frustrating as a forecaster, is just not having a lot of agreement or certainty or confidence that we're going to get something tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, as we mentioned earlier, it's all going to depend on how much moisture we lose in that first system, how much of that storm energy is sucked up, and also something to keep an eye on is, again, what those dew points are going to be at that time. Because the dew points look like they could be there potentially. Now, are we going to have enough moisture in the atmosphere for kind of actual storm systems to develop, not just have those dew points?
Yes. A lot of key ingredients need to come together tomorrow afternoon to get something cooking. Let's go to Future Track, and I'll show you what we mean about why things are going to get a little complicated tomorrow. So what you're seeing here over the Quad Cities at this hour, 10 o'clock tonight, those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, there'll be some snow to the north of us. They have winter storm watches across portions of Wisconsin and Minnesota. So there's the hail threat overnight with some of those storms. But we get into tomorrow, and we'll stop the clock here. This is 4 a.m. And what you're seeing is not only what the radar could look like, but I've also put the storm energy level on there. So you can see that, yes, this is very unusual that at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, Peter, we're talking about storm energy coming in here and we don't even have any sun.
No, you don't have sun. Well, why is that? It's the warm front. It's a little bit more heat, and heat is, I mean, temperatures are all actually energy. That's
Right.
honestly the way to manage them is all temperature is energy. And when you have that warm front coming in, bringing that rush of warm air, there's a little bit more potent. It's a little more potent, I guess you could say, when it comes to the energy compared to on the other side of the front. If you look along I-80 here to the north, before that front's kind of moved its way through, you're not seeing that high of storm energy. But behind that warm front with that strong southeast wind, you're going to be seeing that storm energy build up, which is typically you don't obviously see at this time of day, but that's why it is there.
Yeah, and perfect explanation for that because, you know, the sun is not up yet. So this has got to be the temperature driver to build in that instability. And like you were talking about, I'm going to peel away the radar layer for a second because you can see it's a sharp cutoff. It gets up to about the Interstate 80 corridor and tries to move a little bit further north as the morning goes on. But why is that important? Well, look at the line to the west of us. It's still a very impressive looking line, and it has all this increasing amount of storm energy ahead it to use. So what that means is that line will likely maintain itself, if not potentially strengthen, as it works its way into the Quad Cities first thing tomorrow morning. And this is at 5 o'clock, so just west of the metro at 5. But look at what's changed with the storm energy. We've cranked it up even more. We've got that yellow color, which is getting on the higher end of the level of storm energy as that line is coming in. So that's why we have that concern for the morning commute tomorrow. There you see it right in the Quad Cities at 6. Honestly, the worst time that I think this could be coming in here between that time in the morning, because you got so many people on the roads, we have kids getting ready for school and all that going on, and then it will slowly march eastward. Now, yes, there is some question as to how far east it's going to make it once it hits the Mississippi River, because you're noticing that the storm energy to the east of that is kind of fading out. And one of the reasons for that is, well, we're losing the temperature, that warmer temperatures, the low-level jet that develops at night, which is basically just faster southerly winds near the ground. We're losing some of that by the time we get to 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. That starts to weaken. So we may see that line weaken a little bit as it heads east of the Quad Cities. However, again, this is why we're so uncertain about tomorrow afternoon. If we keep playing future track, we have round after round after round of rain and embedded thunderstorms all morning long. And if this scenario remains and we stay cloudy, kind of lessens our severe threat for the afternoon.
It does. But again, this is something we've been talking about too, is the gradient potential. If you look further to the west where you're getting clearing, look at that. You got some of that yellow out near Iowa City, Washington, and Cedar Rapids potentially making its way through.
Exactly. And I'm going to throw on the cloud layer here, and we'll take a look and see what it has in terms of our cloud cover. That might help us a little bit try and figure out what's going on here. So let's throw that contour on here. And I'm going to extend. So we're doing this on the fly, so you're going to see a lot of movement here. So pardon it for a second. Let's take off this for a moment. Let's let it load the cloud data. Again, it's going to take a minute. Give it a second, and we'll switch that over. There we are. So let's go into that early afternoon time frame, late morning, early afternoon. Are we getting some breaks in the clouds? Yes, you see some of that working up from the south and west. So if we can get that to arrive here just a little bit earlier, we need that about 11, 12 o'clock.
I'd say right during that peak heating time when we get that most radiation from the sun, that energy coming down. And typically we see, the highest jumps from around 11 to 1.
Exactly. Yeah, if we can get that in here a little bit earlier, because when you're talking about this coming in at 1, 2 o'clock, that's almost a little bit too late to get enough storm energy building, and that's why you're not seeing too much exciting going on with future track here in terms of new storm development here in the afternoon. You notice it takes off again once we get east of the Quad Cities, well east, like Interstate 39 and east. But if that clearing that you're seeing in the model run here can work its way up a little bit faster and earlier in the morning, towards just before noon, and we can bathe in that sun for a few hours in the early afternoon, then we need to be on guard for that potential next round, which I think early estimates would be between 2, 4, maybe 2, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, that is not certain. That is not a guarantee because it all depends on when tomorrow morning's activity can get out of here. And you see, there's a lot of it. I mean, there is so much going on in terms of showers and storms. So that morning activity could very well rob what tries to come in here in the afternoon, and we end up with hardly anything in the afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a dynamic system. Because I remember we were
Yes.
looking at it yesterday. I mean, she broke it down pretty well there, but we were looking at the different storm ingredients. Say, this is our house model. The house model had maybe not as much storm energy, but it had the moisture.
Right.
And then the European and GFS models, they were still kind of flipping back and forth. And also, I think another thing to keep into account here, and you can show this, is how quickly that low is going to move its way out.
Excuse me. I felt that coming on. Anyway, you're good. Keep going.
How quickly that low is going to move its way out. When that quickly moves out, that's going to kind of lower that instability as well.
Yes, yes. And the warm front's where you're going to have to watch for your tornado
Yes.
potential. Where that warm front begins to sneak itself is going to be crucial to see who gets a quick spin up as that comes in. So this is the storm energy. So we showed you that little narrow ribbon here just east of the Quad Cities before that line comes in. This is 6 a.m. tomorrow. So that's where that potential lies for that line to briefly strengthen as it gets into the Quad Cities and then potentially weaken as it heads east. But when it comes to the placement of the warm front, what we're looking for are winds that are out of the southwest. And we don't get that warm front here in the Quad Cities, it looks like, until a little bit later in the morning, because you notice we still have here at 9 o'clock a southeast wind. We don't turn that to the southwest, generally speaking, until we get closer to here. And then you have the actual cold front sitting to the west of Des Moines there. That's going to be working its way east as we head into the afternoon. So that's going to be, again, a big question tomorrow afternoon. Can we get enough of that storm energy, enough recovery to come in ahead of the front? And you can see the front will start crossing the Mississippi River right around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock as the winds turn southwesterly and then eventually west-northwest. We'll get that front to scoot through. So what a dynamic system this is. I mean, we're dealing with everything from very strong wind shear to some storm energy. And it all just depends on what's going to happen with the thunderstorms tomorrow.
Yeah.
If they stick around most of the morning and you don't see any sun,
That's good news for the afternoon.
then you can let your guard down for the afternoon. But if we see the sun, we've got another potential strong round coming again in the afternoon.
Yeah, and we'll be able to kind of help judge that by, I'd say, around 10, 11 o'clock. We'll have a pretty good idea
Yeah.
tomorrow based on the system. And I think we'll probably be doing some stuff here on that 8 Plus app.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So the plan for tomorrow is we will not have Ask Andrew live if we are in severe storm coverage. And either way, it doesn't matter, because if we're in severe storm coverage, we're going to be live on the app. And if we need to be live on air, we'll be there too. But in the event that the morning storms fizzle out and we don't have to do any live coverage either on the app or on the air, we'll plan on the normal 9 o'clock Ask Andrew Live, where we will continue to monitor and see what's going on and see what could potentially happen in the afternoon if the morning stuff doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So we have plans.
We have
big plans for tomorrow.
We're ready. We're all
Yes.
booked up.
Exactly. I've been with the morning crew this morning. Everybody's debriefed and ready to go for that. I think we're going to try and have some sort of a live presence out tomorrow morning as the storms are rolling through. Of course, safety is number one with our crew as they're out in the field, but it's so important as well to have that live in-field experience so we can see what the storms are doing. So thankfully it's coming in, as the sun is coming up, we're going to be able to get you visuals as this storm is rolling through tomorrow morning. But folks are ready. They've got the power outage all bookmarked. They've got the Iowa DOT stuff all bookmarked. So we're going to be able to give you everything you need to know as we go through GMQC tomorrow. And then once GMQC ends, we've got the 8 Plus app. If we need to be streaming here as well, we can give you all that information.
Yes.
All of it's ready to go.
Be prepared. Don't be scared.
Exactly. Again, keyword on this is scattered. This is not a
great thing, too.
widespread event. This is going to be scattered in terms of the severest parts of these storms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were watching some national coverage earlier. Great way they describe these systems. It's like popcorn.
Yeah.
You'll get little pops and flares up. One little piece will pop, but that doesn't mean everywhere is going to be, kind of popping at that same time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, not a derecho.
No.
Not expecting anything like that, but just want you to be prepared because, the timing of this very impactful to when everyone is on the roads. Kids are going to school and that kind of stuff too. In the event tomorrow morning too that we have not only severe thunderstorm warnings, but heaven forbid we get a tornado warning kind of during that same time frame as kids are going to be going to school. We're kind of trying to prepare for that as well. Reaching out to different districts to see what their protocol is. Do they keep kids on the bus? Do they bring them inside? What happens with that? So we're going to try and stay on top of that tomorrow as well. I don't want to have any parents discouraged from sending their kids to school tomorrow. This is not the first time we've done this. School districts are very versed in this kind of protocol. They know what to do. But it is a forecast worth staying on top of. Of course, as you're sending kids out the door for the day, you want to make sure that you know what's coming in and what the threat is and what you need to do to stay safe.
Yes.
Yeah. Not a time, though, tomorrow morning where I think we need to hold kids back at home or anything like that because of that kind of a threat. But again, we're going to stay on top of that, and we'll let you know every step of the way as we go into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep you updated.
Yeah.
We got questions for you.
We got questions. All right. Let's get to some of those, and we'll get them answered.
Chucky was wondering what time is the storm coming in tomorrow, and also happy birthday. It's Chucky's birthday.
Oh, it is. Oh, happy birthday.
birthday.
An April Fool's birthday.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it. Boy, you can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. But yeah, what time is the storm coming in tomorrow?
Can you give us a location? So if you ask us, what time are the storms arriving, let us know your location because it's going to vary. If you're west of the Quad Cities, we're talking after 4 o'clock, probably 4 to 5 a.m.
Yes.
If you're in the Quad Cities, it's like 5 to 7. And then if you're east of the Quad Cities, it's a little bit after 7, 8 o'clock. So we can put, I had that handy little graphic, but we can just throw Future Track back on here and we'll stop it at the pause points. That reminds me, I will make one of those graphics.
Oh, yeah.
You know what?
Sterling.
We may have just gotten the new model run in.
Is this the new model?
Because this looks a little bit more aggressive.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Than what I saw earlier. So yeah, welcome to being live here on the stream. So this is a new run of Future Track, and we get one of these every 4 hours.
Yep.
So perfect timing. Here we are on the live stream. Let's look at the new run. And let's play through this for a second. Let's kind of analyze what we're seeing. So, the timing looks the same, but that's kind of a real strong push of some thunderstorms coming in earlier from the southwest. That's coming in about 3, 4 o'clock. That's where your hail threat comes in.
Especially in that little darker color there, that's where that hail core could really kind of pick up.
Yeah. That's telling you something right there. So there's the hail threat. And then there's the line to the west of us. Still looking very meaty, very healthy.
Some good bowing there, too, with this newer run, even
Yeah.
more so.
You're even kind of noticing that. I don't know if you see it. It's kind of hard to see off the screen, but especially to the north here. Kind of got a bit of a bowing signature.
Yeah.
So that's 5. Let's go ahead to 6. And yep, still moving it into the metro about that time. And yeah, that's a healthy looking line. A good bow to the north here. That's not guaranteeing that's where it's going to be, but the fact that we're seeing those signatures tells us what the threat is.
Yeah, it's a good idea of, how strong the storm can be and the potential of that severity where it's going to be those random little pops within those bows.
Yeah, that is very telling right there. Here's 8 o'clock, still got it over the Quad City Metro. And then we go east of the Mississippi River. And again, we're doing this on the fly, so I'm going to kind of bounce all around here. Because as the data changes, I need to change where this data stops in my timeline, if you will. So there's another bowing signature south of the Quad Cities. You see that from Geneseo to Galesburg. We're getting another wind signature in there. So that's going to continue eastward to Sterling Rock Falls about 8, 9 o'clock. Princeton, right in that same time frame. Okay, here we go into the afternoon.
Clearing around noon.
We got the clearing around noon. Let's see what happens into the afternoon. Again, we're doing this live. Haven't looked at this yet. This is the first time we're all seeing this right now. So there's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Ooh, we're trying to pop something here.
Wow, late.
Between 4 and 5, right there east of the Mississippi River. I'm not liking that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, we're just seeing this for the first time with you while you guys are watching this. So we're kind of analyzing this on the fly. But yeah, Future Track picking up on some potential activity here east of the Mississippi River tomorrow afternoon as the front moves through. So let's go a little bit further.
Oh, there's some more development.
There's some more development east of the Quad Cities. Okay, so that's a new development. Again, very conditional. It depends on if we can get into the sun tomorrow afternoon. Then we're talking about in that same 3 out of 5 zone for this to happen, where we could get a couple of those scattered severe thunderstorms. And Peter, one of the things to look at here too, do you notice kind of the shape that Future Track takes with some of these storms?
Yes.
How it looks like a kidney bean?
Yep.
So, being here as long as I have been and working with our Future Track modeling, that's how our future track tries to delineate what could potentially be supercell thunderstorms. Those are the ones that cause the tornadoes, the damaging winds, and the hail. So I'm seeing a couple of those. I'm seeing one with that storm right there south of Sterling.
Yeah, I was going to say the Sterling one.
And then there's another one with the one earlier right there as it comes out of the Quad Cities. You notice how it's kind of got that kidney bean shape to it.
Right near Whiteside County.
So that's telling me that potential is there. So again, we're just now watching this with you live. We just got this new run in. Is it set in stone? No. Is it concrete? No. Is it going to happen for sure tomorrow? No. But again, it's showing us what we just talked about, Peter. If we get the sun in the afternoon, we're going to have to be on guard again tomorrow afternoon for that another round of potential severe thunderstorms.
I mean, and we clearly saw the moisture in that, Illinois side of the river at that afternoon time too. So there's your two ingredients. If we get that clearing, we get that moisture.
And there it is.
There it is.
Should we go to let's go to the storm energy, because we got a new run of that in, of course, with this. And we're going to switch sources for a second. Again, we're going to look at this on the fly with you live. Nothing set in stone, but we want to be able to see what's going to happen in terms of that. So that's an escalation from this morning.
That's much different than this morning. This morning it was low.
Yeah, there's a lot more storm energy in here for tomorrow afternoon that could potentially get us rocking and rolling again. So again, there's a new development, kind of an advantage of you being here on the live stream with us, because we do this deeper dive and you can get these live updates with us while we're here, so you can get the latest information. That's why we say the A+ app, great resource to have. We're able to show you this in real time. This is something we can't really do on the air because we don't have time to do that.
No.
So I'm glad you could be here with us for the stream. But yeah, that is quite a change. That is a trend worth watching. And what that means is we're going to see what happens with the model run early this afternoon. And then James will get another model run or two this evening. And if it still shows that, that afternoon scenario, then I think we're going to be adjusting that weather impact clock for tomorrow.
As I said, we make it kind of almost two weather impact alerts and a weather impact alert.
Two rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would not be fun.
No.
That means yours truly is coming back in tomorrow afternoon.
Probably.
So it could be
both of yours truly.
Yeah, both of yours truly will be coming back in tomorrow afternoon. So it could be a very long day. We'll be highly caffeinated for sure should that happen tomorrow afternoon.
I'll make the coffee run again.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a big cup this time.
Yeah.
So again, not set in stone. Sorry for the interruption in the questions, but that caught my eye. I was like, whoa, this is a new model. So yeah, I'm glad we went through that.
Kidney beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not what you want to see on a map.
No.
In your pot, sure. On your stove,
a nice cup of chili with some kidney beans.
Right.
Great. Great.
Sorry about that. Now we can go back to questions.
Yes. Let's see. So Chucky's from Sterling, so that time
okay.
Around 9 a.m.
Yeah, we're thinking around 9 o'clock. I think that's a good time. Yeah.
Let's see. Ashley was wondering, Whiteside County, is that in a level 2 or 3 risk for storms tomorrow? You guys are in a level 3, I believe.
It is a 3 out of 5 for Whiteside County tomorrow. Yep.
Most all of the Illinois side of the river is on that level 3 out of 5 threat.
Yeah, we'll throw the map back up there so you can see your specific hometown. Again, this is counting both the morning and the potential afternoon activity, okay? So both of those. If you're east of the Mississippi River and you're not in Joe Davis County, you're in the 3 out of 5, essentially. Easiest way to explain that.
Yep. Illinois side. All right.
Yep.
Let's see. Another Kewaunee, yes. Again, Illinois side of the river. You guys are probably leaning towards that level 3 threat.
Yep. Got to watch the afternoon. Again, if that trend continues.
Which makes sense why they have that level 3 out of 5 threat over there.
Yep.
The potential was there. Russell from Muscatine was wondering, do you think the SPC will shift the level 3 threat further to the east? To the west?
That will happen if we do not get any clearing here late tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon. If we don't receive any clearing and it stays cloudy and it keeps raining and we keep getting repeated thunderstorm activity all throughout the late morning, then yes, you will see the Storm Prediction Center shift this east, just like it did on Sunday. Probably not as far east as they did, but I bet you're going to go probably to Interstate 39 and east. Yeah.
He was wondering west. I mispronounced.
Oh, west. Okay.
Yes, that's me because I can't read.
Oh, you're fine. As of right now, I don't see too much potential for it to go west. I kind of like where it's at right now. I think too, if it were to go west, we're still covered by this 2 out of 5. So I'm really happy with where they have it right now based on everything we've seen. Yes. Yeah, I don't see much of a westward shift in that.
No, and the timing plays a big role in that too with that storm energy. So it's kind of lining up just with that.
Exactly.
Tyler's wondering what is the timing for Davenport, and what is the highest threat with this severe system?
Highest threat, hands down, is wind.
Yes.
That is a 3 out of 3 on the scale. The tornadoes are it's a 3 out of 5. It's a 5-point scale. 3 out of 5 for wind. It's a 2 out of 5 for tornadoes and a 2 out of 5 for hail. So like we've been talking about, we're talking about these radar signatures about how it's bending and bowing, and that just indicates that strong wind potential. So you're curious about the timing in Davenport. Again, we think Quad Cities between 5, 6, probably as late as 5, 7 if the line can slow down.
Yeah.
Right during the morning commute.
Right during that morning.
Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Drive safe. 2 hands.
Yes.
It's not 9 and 3 anymore, is it? It's not 10 and 2. It's 9
10
and
and
3.
2, or is it 9?
It's
is it
9 and 3 now.
Well, it probably depends on the design of your steering wheel, but I digress.
That's true. I
They're all
learned that-
different.
I learned that the other day. They teach them 9 and 3 now. Like I was 10 and 2.
I was 10 and 2 as well.
Yeah, they switched it.
Most of us do 6. 6 o'clock. That's the cool thing to do.
Oh, goodness. Marcus from Knoxville. Why do supercells form in the shape of a hook? Also, happy April Fool's Day.
Yes, happy April Fool's Day, Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
Yes, good morning. Hope you're doing well. They're doing a little HVAC work, so don't mind the distant noise there. So the kidney bean shape is because of how these storms are oriented. It also has to do with the wind field that goes into these storms, and believe it or not, the spin of the earth causes these things to do that as well.
That Coriolis
That got
effect.
lagged. Yes, the Coriolis effect. Thank you. No worries. I think we're I think
We only got a couple more questions.
so far we're okay.
Yeah, we'll be okay. I can't tell.
Nobody's coming in here saying you guys need to evacuate the room. So
No, I can't even tell like on our mics if it's loud enough or not. I don't know if it's getting.
yeah,
Oh,
they're
it
doing
is. It's
some
getting picked
HVAC
up.
work.
Yeah, they're like up, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Tyler is wondering. No, we already got that one. Sorry. Will there be a window to drive between QC and Chicago tomorrow during the day?
During the day, if you're going to do that, it's kind of a short-lived one. If you were going to do that, you're probably talking late morning to early afternoon,
Yeah.
like an 11 to a 1 or an 11 to 2.
Yeah.
That would be when I would personally do that.
Yeah, and that's when we could get that clearing
Yeah.
before. But the potential, look at that, those lighter level clouds right around that 10 a.m. time even. That's where they're pulling, that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, you're pretty quiet between 11 and 2, maybe as late as 11 and 3,
Yeah.
depending on the timing of the front. So late morning to early afternoon, I think you're okay to travel to the Windy City.
Troy was wondering, will Burlington get severe weather?
So Burlington, let's backtrack here because yes, that same line is expected to go through Burlington. So a good amount of wind will be possible with that first thing in the morning. When it comes to the afternoon threat, not really. This is going to be to your east. Just looking at the timing of the front and everything else coming in. Now, 1 or 2 of those storms southwest could briefly become severe, but I still think it's mainly focused east of the Mississippi River, just like the Storm Prediction Center has in their outlook. And I'll put that back on the screen because Burlington proper is not, I believe, in the 3 out of 5 risk. I believe you're just in the 2. Yeah, you're just to the west of that. And I agree with that. I think the higher threat is just to your west.
Yes. They do have some good storm energy in the morning, though.
They do, yep. So I think the morning is the one to watch for
keep an eye on.
Burlington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Billy, what's up? How are you, Billy?
Hey.
One of our favorites.
Yeah.
Spotters out in Clinton. I
He's
believe,
very
right?
reliable.
Very reliable.
Very reliable.
He's the best.
He is the Mr. Clinton weatherman himself.
Oh, yes, he is. Is there any possibility that the SPC could upgrade to a level 4 risk?
Unless the tornado threat increases, I don't see it happening.
Neither.
We would need to get a little bit more better wind field associated with the warm front that's coming through here. I'll put the tornado zone back up on the map here for you. You notice, and I'm going to backtrack this in a second here, so give me 1 second. Let's let it finish playing out. So notice how this tornado zone, especially the hatched one, where we're expecting the stronger tornadoes, is kind of oriented southwest to northeast. That's where the environment's going to be. If they were to extend this, if anything, they would probably extend it up to near Chicago and into parts of Indiana and Michigan. I don't see it backtracking much in this direction. Again, it all depends on the sunshine and the wind field and all that good stuff. But yeah, I just don't see that.
Very
right
timing
now.
and dynamically dependent.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Oh,
We got another one?
Oh, wait. Oh, we got two more popping right at the end. What are we going to see around Clinton or Sterling from Gilbert?
Clinton and Sterling is definitely primarily a wind and a hail threat. So starting with the hail threat late tonight, and then the wind with that line coming through, likely between 4, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then we watch and see what happens in the afternoon, because Clinton is kind of right on the border of where that front's going to be. So again, if you're seeing sunshine, when you're out and about doing your things during the day tomorrow, anytime I would say between 10 and 2, if we can get some sunshine in that window, at least a few hours of it, your awareness level and your preparedness level needs to go up, needs to escalate for that chance of seeing a secondary round of severe storms.
Great question.
Yeah.
I like that response. I don't want to risk saying that, Gilbert, but I don't want to get in trouble, but that is funny. That is funny. Tyler's wondering, are there any signs of how high the strongest winds could blow?
Strongest winds, we're talking the potential of 70 miles an hour, possibly even stronger than that. We were looking at, and I should pull that up. It might take me a second to find. Actually, no, it's right there. Sorry, I thought it was more buried. We remember when we pull this up when we're doing the severe weather discussion sometime about those winds. You were showing me this yesterday, Peter, about some of these numbers.
They're not.
As the line was coming through. Yeah.
The upper level atmosphere has some strong winds, and if we go later into the day, I don't know if we can pull this later into the afternoon. We saw some signatures. There they are. That's when we have the clearing skies. But if we get some development, a little bit of downdraft with those strong winds there, something to keep an eye on.
Yes, and again, these are not winds that are going to reach the ground.
No.
Yes, these are up in the storm, but it goes to show, like you said, it's that potential of just a little taste of some of the wind that storm could try and pull down.
Yes.
It's not going to pull all of it down.
No.
But even if it just grabs onto a sliver of that much of a wind speed, you're talking about, like you said, that downburst potential, those really strong winds. And that includes not just the storms tomorrow morning, where you've got winds in that same, zone of about 100 miles an hour, but as we just showed you in the afternoon, 100 plus.
Yeah.
So again, not going to see those here at the ground. I don't want to freak anybody out. No. We're not going to see 100 plus mile per hour winds tomorrow.
No.
All right. But that's just the potential that we look at when trying to figure out, okay, how strong could those winds be? And that is why you're seeing this from the Storm Prediction Center, this huge polka dot area, which means 70 plus. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, not downdraft of 100, but
yeah,
70 plus scattered potential.
Yes. Woo.
There we go. You are very welcome, Billy. Let's see. What can we expect in Monmouth?
All right. Sorry, I need to get a quick sip there.
Oh, you're good. I didn't realize we've been talking for almost 40 minutes.
I know. It's almost been 40 minutes.
Nice.
You guys have been great with your questions, though.
Been so good today.
That's what keeps us here so long.
I know.
And we don't mind it whatsoever. So Monmouth, 3 out of 5. We will be watching not just the morning line coming through, but you're far enough east, including Galesburg, where we're going to have to watch as that front moves through, that we could have a couple of those scattered severe storms in the afternoon, depending on the morning activity.
That's where we kind of saw that kidney bean too kind of line itself up through our southern counties, through Warren, Knox, into potentially Henry there.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we saw one of those potential, again, this is potential kidney beans shaped storms that would bring that severe potential, that supercell-like potential.
And we'll throw that back on there so you can see it. And yeah, you see there's a couple scattered in there. Not everything is red, not everything is pink, but just that potential is there that front could fire up a couple of things as it moves in.
Yes. Well, let's see. Princeton, and then maybe, I know you got your meeting.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yep, we got 5 minutes. We can chill.
Princeton, Illinois.
Princeton, Illinois. So you are...
Zero.
Just looking at this one run, it's like I think Princeton is more apt for the morning first, and then maybe in the afternoon. I'm more confident about the morning for Princeton, Illinois, than I am for the afternoon, because the afternoon is likely going to be scattered.
Yes.
Whereas the morning is that more solid line. You can see there how it kind of scatters into the afternoon and the evening. You're still going to want to be on the lookout for both, though.
Yes.
As we go through. So this stops at 7. We got the new run, which means I can push this out a little bit further. So again, we're going to work with this on the fly. I'm going to push this out to 11, just to kind of curious to see what happens beyond that 7 o'clock time frame. And yeah, it kind of turns into a line and then heads east. So Yeah, so you have the potential both times, both in the morning and the afternoon. But like you said, I think the morning is a more for sure thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit more confidence in
Yeah.
that.
Much higher confidence.
Yes. Alan has a 5:50 flight out of Moline.
5:50 a.m.
Yes.
Oh.
How's
well,
that looking, Andrew?
fasten your seatbelts.
Fasten your seatbelt. Prepare for turbulence.
Yeah, that I would prepare for the possibility that you may be either delayed or canceled. Especially the timing here has been very consistent with this line. That it is indeed going to come in here between, if I had to give the whole region a time from start to finish, west to east, roughly about 4 to 8, 4 to 9 in the morning. So yeah, if you have flight plans out of Quad City International tomorrow, not looking good.
Not looking
especially at 5:50 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Probably a delay.
Yep.
I think it also depends on where you're going. Because
Yes.
one of those Chicago flights, maybe you could sneak out just in time in the gap between the storms.
Yes.
But say if you're heading to Dallas, you're flying into a whole mess of
Yeah.
strong winds.
I hope you're flying east.
I hope you're flying east
not
or
west.
Charlotte, or at least I
Yeah.
know one airline that I've flown out of here, so I only know those 3 connections. I guess there's Atlanta
Yes.
and Minneapolis and maybe Detroit as well.
Yep.
So
Those
head
are all
east,
connections.
so that's probably better.
Yeah. Hopefully you can beat that line.
Yes,
Hopefully it
just in time.
delays itself just a few more minutes. You can get out of here and
Yes.
and get going. Our thoughts are with you.
Yes. Wish you the best of luck.
Yes.
New Boston. We just got one in. How does New Boston look?
Oh, okay. So New Boston is pretty much the same thing. You got this line of storms in the morning, likely after 5 o'clock for you. And then you're really kind of on the edge of where that new development is going to be for the afternoon. Now, I think just looking at things right now, the new development is probably just a little bit further east of you for that afternoon. So we're more certain that, yes, most of us get something in the morning, and then we wait and see what happens with the afternoon activity.
Yes.
It's very scattered in nature.
Yes.
Save this.
I think that's all we got.
That all? Okay, we got them in
Great
perfect
questions.
timing.
I know, right?
We're just
Right
about
on
there.
time.
All right. Thank you, Peter, for joining me this morning.
always so fun.
I tell you what,
He's
this
the
guy,
best. He's the
this
best.
guy is such
He's
a
the
hard
best.
worker. I don't know about that.
Oh.
You're too nice. He's too nice. So reminder, there will be another one of these tonight, 8 o'clock with Chief Meteorologist James Zahara. Should we need to do some more coverage on the A+ app tomorrow morning, we will absolutely do that. And I think the stream will be starting pretty early in the morning too. We may not be there live doing much that time because GMQC is going on, but certainly we're going to be tracking this all morning long. So stick with us. Again, a very fluid situation for tomorrow. We are literally tracking it hour by hour, as you just saw live with us moments ago when we got the new model run in. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see where things go for the rest of the day. I'll see you later for GMQC at 11, and both of us will probably see you at some point tomorrow.
We'll see us both.
Yeah, we're going to get our rest in, that's for sure.
Good evening.
You guys have a fantastic Tuesday. We'll see you later.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8+ app everywhere you stream.